Hello and welcome to Bible Study with Alice, and today we are on day 90, Psalm 90 of our daily Psalm reading. We are reading from the ESV translation, but you're more than welcome to join us from a different translation. As you can see, we are on Psalm 90. These videos are filmed in real time. Today's date is the 1st of February 25 and it's a Saturday. You can find the previous 89 Psalms in the playlist below. There is a disclaimer as usual, and that is one of these videos are unedited and also probably stumble my word in. Let's get started. From everlasting to everlasting, a prayer of Moses, the man of God, the Lord, you have been a dwelling place in all generations before the mountain were brought forth, or ever you had formed the earth and the world. From everlasting to everlasting, you are God. You return man to dust, and so return, O child of man, for 1,000 years in your sight are but as yesterday when it passed, or as a watch in the night. You sweep them away as with a flood. They are like a dream, like a grass that is renewed in the morning. In the morning it flourishes and is renewed. In the evening it fades and withers. For we are brought to an end by your anger and your wrath. We are dismayed. You have set iniquities before you, and a secret sin in light of your presence. For all our day pass away under your wrath. We bring our years to an end like a sigh. The year of our life are 70, or even by reason of strength 80. Yet their span is but toil and trouble. I think it's either toil or toil and trouble. They are soon gone, and we fly away. We consider the power of your anger, and your wrath according to fear of you. So teach us to number our days, that we may get a heart of wisdom. Return, O Lord, how long? Have pity on your servants. Satisfy us in the morning with your steadfast love, that we may rejoice and be glad all our days. Trying to figure out where I am now. Let's go with 14. Satisfy us in the morning with your steadfast love, that we may rejoice and be glad all our days. Make us glad for as many days as you have afflicted us, and for as many years as we have seen evil. Let your work be shown to your servants, and your glorious power to their children. Let the favour of the Lord our God be upon us, and establish the work of our hands upon us. Yet establish the work of our hands. So that is Psalm 90 complete, and tomorrow we will be doing Psalm 91. I have to admit, I really am struggling with filming this video today, so I do apologise if I sound completely off. I'm not going to lie, I am struggling, but I'm going to get through it, it's fine. So that is the first half of the video complete. For those who are new, I will read the psalm first and then explain about the time period of the psalm, give an overview of the time periods, and then we go into discussing the psalm itself. So with the Psalms, they are such a vast period of time, over easily 1,000 years they were written. And some of the Psalms, well, there are three ways I can explain it, and it split things up in three sections. Two of them are linked, and the other one isn't. So I'll do the one that's not linked, and then the two that is linked with each other, and you can see why I say they're linked. Two of them are linked. For those who are returning, you know where I'm going with this, so thank you for sticking out. I like to do this so I can help new people understand. Even though you're watching this and thinking, oh, she told me this every single day, I like to, it's not being repetitive, it's just to explain things for new people who are coming across my channel and who are wanting to join our Bible study. And it's just nice and easy, just explain it, we all get an idea and we can go with it from that point on. So, as I said, with the Psalms, they were written over a vast period of time, and historians and scholars, when they are obviously looking into the Psalms, there are a group of Psalms where they have a time period linked to it, and now it could just be that they know exactly when that time period was. I have to admit, I've always been interested in how historians and scholars work this stuff out. So I have to admit, it's quite interesting how they do it. But there are those Psalms that have the time period, and for people like myself, having a time period linked to the Psalms is very helpful, and it's very understanding to kind of put your mind at that point in time when you're reading it. So you're kind of thinking, oh, this was written at this time period. I can kind of picture the scene of the Psalm. Then you got the two that are linked. The first one, so they both are unknown, and that means unknown as in the historians and scholars don't know the time period of those Psalms, but they are two separate, so that's the link. So the link is that they're both unknown, and that's due to the fact that historians and scholars don't know when those Psalms were written. Now, how they differentiate, how they are different, I want to say that word and I can't even say it today. So there are a group of Psalms where obviously they have an unknown time period, and that's due to historians and scholars don't know when those Psalms were written, and it's generally due to the fact of the poetic language of the Psalms. And there is a group of Psalms that have an event linked to that Psalm. So it could be war, could be issues during a reign of a king, so it could be issues during King David's reign, King Solomon's reign, you know, it could be anything like that. It could just be in exile, or the pre-exilic period, post-exilic period. Could just be conflict going on, could be marriages, ex affairs. That's enough words I can't say today. Could be things like that, anything like that. Could be murder. You can kind of go, you kind of see where I'm going with it. And so what then happens is the historians and scholars, when they have that Psalm that is unknown and they go on an event, they'll be like, okay, so this Psalm was written during this particular time period. Now, we don't know when that time period was, but it was during a time period where that event would have happened, and so forth. Now, you've got the other side of it, where But the psalm does not have a time period or an event linked to it. So they just don't have a clue when that psalm is written. They just know it was written because it's obviously there. But they just don't know anything actually about that psalm. They can't understand why that psalm was there, who wrote it, why it was written, anything. They just don't know nothing about that psalm in the context of the events that led up to it. So that is about the psalm, about the time period of the psalms. So now I'm going to talk about, I'm going to talk about the psalm first, and then I'm going to do it a bit backwards because I think that's how I'm feeling today, it's a bit backwards. So I'll explain this first. So Psalm 90 was written before 1440 BC, and the author was Moses. Now, why I say that is because it mentions a prayer of Moses, the man of God. So that's why we know that the author of the book of Psalm 90 even, the author is Moses. So Psalm 90 reflects on the bravery of human life and the need for God's compassion and mercy. It emphasizes God's eternal nature and the hope that God's love can bring meaning and joy to human lives. So with that in mind, where it says about reflecting on the brevity of human life and the need for God's compassion, so as being humans, we go through a lot of issues, various issues going on, doesn't matter which issues they are, and sometimes though we just need the compassion of God to give us that comfort that's going on in our life. As I said, we could go through all sorts of things, grief, when I say grief and loss, they are two different meanings in this context. Grief as in the loss of a person, and loss as in a loss of a job, could be loss of finances, could be loss of friendships, and I mean, when I say loss of friendship, I don't mean death, I mean just people falling out with people. And we just want that compassion from God, and God's eternal nature gives us hope that by having that love can bring so much more love and meaning to our lives by just having God there, present within us. And once we understand that God's compassion and his mercy is there within us, we can obviously be then so much better and do things better with our life, and just be able to even just be in the moment where we understand that God's love is just so much more, and that he can help us, he can get us through those issues that's going on in our life at that moment in time. So that's Psalm 90, as in talking about the psalm. So as I said, we are in book 4. There are 5 books in the book of Psalms, and before we do that, I'm just going to go through them individually from 1 to 4, so you kind of got an idea where we're going with this. And it's also so those who are new will understand as well. So book 1 consists largely of psalms spoken by David individually rather than by the nation. They address matters that concern David personally, and this is applicable to situations that we face in our own, face at work and in our own life. So book 1 mainly consists of things that, obviously it is spoken by David individually rather than by a nation of people, and they address the matter that concern David personally, and also this then becomes applicable to our own situation that we then face at work or in our own life privately, regardless of how that then becomes. So then, just go find book 2. That's a minute. Book 2 is here. Didn't even know when book 2 started. So book 2, all of us suffer from feelings of insecurity and financial ruin. Is high on our list of worries. So then the second book, the psalmist, there is a number of texts within book 2 that then relates to fear, and then so it obviously affects us by fear and ways to help us. So it obviously helps us by turning to God within book 2. And then book 3. Book 3 is just here. So book 3 has clear similarities to Leviticus. So I would say at this point you probably now want to go and read Leviticus. I mean, Leviticus is going to be a book that we will get to, so it's going to be some time, but we will get to it. But if you are one of those that are like, oh, really interested in what Leviticus got to say and the clear similarities between book 3 and Leviticus, you're more than welcome to, but we are going to get to it. And in theme and scope, the purpose of Leviticus was to guide people in their relationships with a holy God, and many of the Psalms in book 3 focuses on the worship of God's sovereignty and his faithfulness. So Leviticus and book 3 are very clear similarities where it helps people to form a relationship with God, and it shows that God's having worshipping God, sovereignty and his faithfulness are going to be linked between the two books, which is also really good if you want to. As I said, you're more than welcome to go and find Leviticus and read up on Leviticus, but I will say that we will get to Leviticus and we will be studying that, but it's not something I'm going to be doing after I finish the book of Psalms, because after the book of Psalms I'm going to be doing book of Proverbs and then quite a few other books before we get to Leviticus, but we are going to get to it. But as I said, you're more than welcome to go and read it now if you want, because I've mentioned it, or you could just wait until we get to it. It's entirely up to you. So, book 4. Book 4 is basically 90 to 106. It is a turning point in the psalmster that conveys the message that God is king. So, during Psalm 90 and Psalm 106, we are going to be looking at the psalmster having that message that God is king. God is the ultimate force, ultimate being, the ultimate one, whichever way you want to see it as. The book is a collection of songs. So within 90 and 106 it is songs. They are supposed to be sung, and as you can tell I'm not really able to speak properly today because I'm not feeling very well. but, and I wouldn't sing anyway, so for those who are new, you don't need to worry, I'm not going to sing. I'm not even going to entertain that. But they are generally songs within 90 to 106. I mean, all of the Psalms in the book of Psalms are meant to be sung. They are meant to be sung. But I'm not going to sing them. I don't actually know a YouTuber who has, so that'd be interesting to find out if somebody has actually sung them. But they aren't. They are supposed to be sung between 90 and 106, but generally speaking, when the Psalms were written, they were written to be sung. So the book is a collection of songs that praise God for his creation, strength and kingship. So obviously we all want strength and kingship from God, because he is obviously the ultimate one, and he obviously was the one who created everything, created the earth, created everybody, everything. And the key themes during Psalms 90 and 106, so it's not just during one psalm, it's obviously during the whole book, is God's eternity, God's kingdom, remembrance, God's salvation and judgment. So those are the key themes that we will find during those particular psalms. So, oh gosh, I'm not very good at going in that on my Zoom. So that is Psalm 90 complete. Tomorrow we'll be doing Psalm 91. I am going to write down the day and the date now. So for those who are new, I always do this. It helps me to feel accountable, and for those who are watching in real time with me, also feel accountable too. But because I'm writing the day and the date in, does not mean that when you're watching this in whenever you're going to watch it in the future, doesn't mean that what you've just heard, what you've just learnt is irrelevant because of the date and the time. No. If you're watching this, I don't know, a month to 6 months to a year to a couple of years down the line, the information in these videos are very relevant to you at that time. So it doesn't mean that they are irrelevant. It's just done for real-time purposes, and it's done to help me feel accountable, help others who are watching this in real time to feel accountable. It's just more for accountability purposes. But if you're watching this in June and you're writing in your Bible in June, you obviously naturally will write June's date. You wouldn't write the date that I'm writing in now, just so you're aware. The date is actually irrelevant, but I put it in to make me feel accountable that I did it on that date. It's more like a diary more than anything. It's not, there's no purpose other than me writing it as a date in my diary. But you can do whatever you want. You can write that date, June's date, whenever date. You could be watching this in 27, like 1st of February 27. You just write 1st of February 27. So that's what I mean. It doesn't matter. The time period that I'm writing now in the Bible right now makes no difference to anybody, unless you are watching this in real time. I just wanted to get that out there. I'm going to write at the bottom. So we're on day 90, and it's the 1st of the 2nd. Wow, we're in a whole month, 25. So, as you can see, day 90, 1st of Feb, 25. So, thank you for watching. Please like my content, please subscribe to my channel, and please turn on the notification bell so you get updates of content like this that gets uploaded to the channel. Thank you and goodbye.